I would like to invite keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Salih Tutun, to the microphone to deliver their speech about how to use complex networks on machine learning for extracting meaningful patterns from big data.
Hello, how are you? First of all, I would like to explain, what the research is about. Let me do it like this way. So, first of all, we are working on how to use complex networks on machine learning. Now, actually, we are talking about the knowledge graph over there, but let's talk about all concept with the basic way. So let me introduce to my team for doing this research. I'm not alone. We are working together with the Washington University and the DM Analytics together. So this is very big research. Actually, I started to work on this research almost 8 years ago in my PhD. Then, it was working on the one DARPA project. Then we just switched this project on the in this days business application. So, and this is very big research, and it's really great honor to me for introducing this research to you. Let's explain that what the research is about. First of all, in this last 8 years, we present this research for the different conferences at the same time, and this research is published more than 40 news. It has been IC magazine cover. At the same time, we got 2 times an IC Cup competition about this research. Of course, and we are just changing application, but logic is same, and we have a one algorithm. Based on this algorithm, we keep going. Sorry. So, what is this research? Let's discuss about this. So, we are mentioning that more is less. So, it means that if you have more data set, it doesn't mean that you can do everything. For example, Google. This company, they are collecting a lot of data set in these days as a big data, and they are trying to make a great engine search by using knowledge graph. So why they are working on this research a lot, why they are giving a lot of funds. In these days, Netflix, Google, Apple, these companies start to work on the knowledge graph. Actually, last 10 years, everybody was talking about machine learning, deep learning, this kind of concept, but we realized that machine learning doesn't work very well on this kind of complex systems. Let's talk about in deep. What does this mean? What I'm trying to explain to you. So as you know that we have a data set, you can collect a lot of data set in your business or in your academia is totally fine. But after collecting data set, it could be unstructured or structured. This is totally fine. You can answer and on the business analytics or other analytics issues. But the concept is here. After getting the information, you can use this information maybe to get some decision. This is totally fine. But after one point, we're supposed to, to get knowledge, but we cannot get. This is the problem last 10 years. We are using machine learning, we are detecting, we are clustering. This is awesome. But when we try to get the wisdom, there is no wisdom over there. So if we know the wisdom, actually we can give some feedback. In this way, we can query on the data set, even it is big data set, is totally fine. Then, then we can analyze it better way, and we can use this idea on machine learning. We can use this idea on deep learning, operation management. This is totally fine. Based on your query and the threshold, you can do a lot of research over there. So how are we gonna do this? This is another concept we're supposed to discuss, I believe. So Google, they are using ontology or they are using semantic graphs for doing this research. But the issue is here, they are preparing the graph database. This is the problem. Why is problem? If you would like to, define the graph database, you're supposed to, and mention about everything. You're supposed to say that this data set is related with this data set. But how do you know these two data sets are related? There is a one expert decide about everything. This is not reasonable. So that's why in our research, we are saying that if you would like to get the knowledge, and it's supposed to be automatically. So the robot, if the robot is going to think like the human, so they're supposed to understand all the knowledge efficiently. How are we going to do this? So usually, let's talk about knowledge graph. What's the knowledge graph? So if you have entities, so you can imagine that there is a relationship between them. There are interactions between them. So if, for example, if the Mark likes the Taxi Driver or Jane likes the Kill Bill movie, then we can say that Jane can like the Quentin Tarantino as well. It could be, that makes sense, but if you have a huge, big networks, and this time, and this issue doesn't work. So what we're gonna do this time? So usually, as I mentioned to you before, they are using semantic graph, they are using the graph database for combining different database to get the knowledge. It works if you are Google, and otherwise it doesn't work. Let's continue. Why this topic is important. So when we look at deep learning is on the top right now. My part of the research is about deep learning as well. This is awesome. But the issue is here, learning is not enough for explaining that how the robot thinks. So learning is the one of the concept. Last 20 years, everybody worked. But in these days, we're supposed to work on the knowledge graph. If you see here, knowledge graph is gonna be the top research in 5 years. We can say that way. So, and when you look at other concept, they're on the top right now. So at the same time, when you look at the big companies, what they do, they are investing about knowledge graph in these days. So we have a great computation system. If you can find a way, work on the computation system efficiently. If you can collect a lot of data set, you can do. We have a lot of platforms for doing this. But the problem is here how we can analyze them. That's the problem. So in this way, we're supposed to find another way. So how are we gonna do that? I'm asking question, then I'm getting another question, because this is the research for understanding concept. I believe we're supposed to look at another perspective. So they are working on the learning. They propose a lot of frameworks, libraries, and everybody work on it. They are awesome on the learning. So learning concept is almost done. Big companies are working. When you work on this kind of research, you can do something, you can publish papers, but when you look at the science perspective, and I believe that is not enough and it's not new as well. And at the same time, when you look at the big picture, learning is the one of the tool we are trying to capture. So what is this? So when you look at the human brain, actually we can understand that. So when you look at the human brain, we're supposed to understand motivation, motor control, vision, learning, reasoning, right? So we have a lot of things we're supposed to capture for the robots. Then robots can think like us. This is the concept. But right now, I know that we are trying to make decision making, but believe me or not, if we can control all these things, this time we're gonna want robot can do everything. So right now, we cannot do everything, but we can do three things. One of them is that learning. Everybody always do this, no problem. Another one is reasoning. This one is important. We're gonna discuss about this. Another one is that long-term memory. For long-term memory, you can prepare the new databases. If you have a huge data set, you can control this, no problem. But what about the reasoning? Reasoning perspective is totally different. I believe that if we can focus on the reasoning and if we can, understand this concept by using one platform, and everything can change. At the same time, when you look at the one example, let's say that this way, for example, in 9/11, someone attacked the New York before by using the airplane. So everybody say that this group attack and this group attack. This is learning. You can learn some information by using data set. But if we are asking that why this guy attacked this building, why this is happening, and after the we understand this attack, can we understand that in the Boston attack? This is another question. So if we can understand the reasoning over there, this time we can prevent some problems. This time we can make great decision over there. But how are we gonna do this? Let's go deep. Let's talk about reasoning this time. So as you know that if you are working on the deep learning, you can work on image, text data set, unstructured data set is totally fine. But what you're gonna do, you're gonna do object detection maybe. You're gonna say that this is horse, you can see the dog, this is car. Good. These are important. We're supposed to do this. But what if that we're supposed to know some reasoning over that? If we can say that the man supposed to ride the horse. This is the one of the knowledge. We're supposed to say that the dog is a loyal entity over there. Or we can say that this car is very old car. The guy doesn't like it. If we can say that this kind of reasoning by looking the image, this time the robot is gonna think like the humans. Actually, even the for example, look at that self-driving cars. If you are using self-driving cars, we cannot say all the time this is tree, this is rock, this is the human. This is another way. At the same time, we're supposed to mention that, okay, this place is very dangerous place. So we're supposed to be careful. The man or other, the entity can go to the road and we can be in the dangers. We're supposed to do this. We're supposed to understand this if you are the robot. And otherwise, this is gonna be problem on the self-driving cars. So that's why everybody start to work on this research in these days. So this is the knowledge model. We are trying, to get the knowledge model for the problems. So this is our platform. I'm gonna explain to you as well. If you have, some knowledge, we are getting all this information and we are doing reasoning over there. Then we are using this reasoning with the learning together. Then we are combining machine learning and complex networks for getting, for doing better decision making over there. So how we are doing this? This is the important part. I believe you wonder. Let's go deep. So in the reality, let's explain, some introduction over there. And there's a lot of complex tactics, strategies in the organization, in the governments. So why I'm talking like this way, because this is kind of the game. If the robot is gonna make a decision, they're supposed to understand this kind of issues. For example, as I mentioned to you before, when I was in PhD, I was working on the DARPA project. It was about counterterrorism. We were trying to understand that how the terrorist group think for doing the attack. So for doing this, we were trying to understand that how they are playing the game. For example, the government prevent one attack. Terrorist groups say that, okay, I'm supposed to change my strategy. They are changing strategy dynamically all the time. But there is a pattern over there. If you can capture the interaction, so between the terrorist groups and the government, and then you can control the game. So when you control the game, you can understand all the tactics, all the strategies over there. This is not just on this research, actually. It works on all the real problems. This one is the hard problem, but let's look at another perspective as well. Another perspective, let's say that we have a one business problem. This time in the business, we have a managers, we have a workers, and we have other people, they are working on that. We have machines. So can we understand that machine people interaction? Can we understand that manager workers interaction? Can we understand that all the psychological issues, how they affect the people's performance in the company? These are the question, research question we are asking. If we can analyze all these issues by using knowledge graph, then we can do. So, and for doing this, what we're gonna do, and right now, we're gonna understand all this concept. Everybody try to do this by using social media, telecommunication, other issues, but just imagine, I'm using Facebook or Instagram. I'm sharing some photo, I'm sharing some information, I'm sharing some ideas. This is good for doing opinion mining, but I'm not sharing my personal information. I'm not sharing how I am staying right now. For example, I'm saying on the Instagram, I'm sharing one picture with everybody. I'm saying that I'm very good inspiration right now. I'm saying that I'm perfect, but nobody knows that what I'm doing right now. Maybe I'm living in the very poor state. Maybe I have a psychological problem. Maybe I have a very bad problem with my friends. So how are we gonna capture all this information? You're supposed to understand that not just the social media. You're supposed to use other information. You need to make a knowledge graph based on this. You need a query of your knowledge. When you can do this, then this time we are talking about the wisdom. The wisdom means you can make decision making on the powerful way. So right now, how we're gonna do this? We have one platform. We're calling it Haldun. It's coming from Ibn Haldun, one of the great sociologists in the world. That's why we gave this name to him. So the issue is here, we are doing knowledge graph. This is the knowledge graph representation platform. So we are using this idea, we are analyzing a lot of data set over there, but the issue is here, the computation time is very less. We find a way. In this case, we applied for the patent for this. So it works. Let me explain the basic knowledge, and I believe that we can discuss about this more. So, what is this Harlan? Let's discuss about this. Actually, we are trying to understand all the interaction between the entities. That could be machine, that could be people, that could be, anything you want in the business. For example, if you are doing maintenance planning, we can do by using knowledge graph over there. If you are working on occupation health and safety, you can analyze and you can understand why the people make actions in the company. Or we can look at another perspective as well. So why need this kind of system if you need to know root cause? If you would like to learn that why this is happening, when it's gonna be happen, When it's gonna be happening, it's really hard to do that. But after answering why this is happening, next step is gonna be when it's gonna be happen. So if you can solve this problem by using this platform in this way, you're gonna talk about the wisdoms. And if you can query some knowledge based on your research question or business question, then this is gonna be the more powerful. Let's go deep how we are doing this. I'm gonna explain very basic things from my PhD. So, and we cannot share all the information because we applied a patent, but I can explain that what the knowledge over there. So when you got one data set, even you have text, image, or structural data set, tabular data set, it's totally fine. You will have some features over there, you will have some samples over there with the basic way. So if we are working on the terrorism, we have a lot of media. They are writing down what they happen. We can collect a lot of information for each event. Then we can understand that how they are thinking. So based on this, we can prepare one tabular data set. Let's say this way, with the basic way. So what is the issue? Actually, we realize that one event affect another event because they are trying to be successful. Success is about, you can ask this question, why do terrorist group try to be successful? And they don't want to kill the people. Actually, they would like to get the lot. They would like to say that everybody talks these guys. This is the important part. If they are successful, and when we realize that other groups learn that they are trying to be successful and they are interacting this kind of behavior in the system. So maybe they are trying to change strategy, but they don't know exactly what they are doing, but they are learning the interaction in the system. So in this way, we realize that in one day, in one point, they are trying to repeat what they are doing in the future attack. So in the reality, it works in this way, and this system is dynamic, and this system is kind of game theory system. So, and I'm just trying to say that this system is very hard system and it works. So when you work on one company, there's a machine over there. Machine is not alive. Then this is much easier for control. So we realize that how can we understand all this system, we are trying to understand all similarities and how they are trying to be successful. Another one is that we are trying to understand how they are interact each other based on the success. So with this way, we are understanding that which kind of pattern is keep going on the system, and when and why this kind of pattern is gonna be happen in the future. This is the basic idea we are covering right here. So based on this idea, what we are doing, maybe this system is gonna work this way is totally clear that right now we have a two terrorist groups. You can understand which group it is with the learning way. It's clear, but when we look at this group, then we are understanding that which kind of attack is going to be happen again in a dynamic way. At the same time, we can use this knowledge in the learning. When we use it on the learning, how we're going to use it? In the machine learning, you just use in the instance. Based on this, you are working on supervised, unsupervised, or reinforcement learning way. But the issue is here, if you can add this reasoning information in the learning, this time we realize that learning is improved as well. So what we're gonna do? Let's give basic information here, which is small data set. We realize that all the attacks happening. This is the suicide attack in Ramadi place in Iraq. So in Iraq, they have some the terrorist groups. They are analyze. They are trying to control some oil holes. But the issue is here, they are playing the game with them. At the same time, they are playing with the government as well. So we realize that all the patterns interact each other. So when we look at just years, when we look at the days, it's totally different. So when we look at the years, we realize that some events is happening again and again. So they use this kind of strategy in 2007, and they start to use this kind of strategy in 2013 as well. So when you understand all these issues, it means that fashion is gonna be the fashion again. But when and why this fashion is gonna be again? This is the question actually. So when you capture this pattern, we realize that we understand how they're gonna attack. So based on this accuracy, we understand that how they will, to control all the system over there. Then government can make a strategy based on this. This was the idea. Why I am explaining this? I'm just trying to explain that if you can understand all this reasoning, then it's gonna work. But machine learning doesn't work over there. So if you would like to make sure machine learning works, so when we use our algorithm with the simple algorithms right here, you're gonna see our accuracy. So it improves the machine learning as well. After doing this, you can do machine learning on it. Based on this, we realize that our results are perfect. So, and when we look at the other problems, not just terrorism, we realize that we can analyze diabetic disease. So when we look at diabetic disease, we have a one pattern like this. So all this pattern is happening that way. So we are understanding why this person is going to be diabetic in the future. Why this is happening? We are trying to analyze. If you would like to capture the detection or learning over there, look at the accuracies. It's great. So what about right here, credit card approval in the bank? It works perfect. We got a pattern over there. For credit loan or for breast cancer or fMRI disease for schizophrenia, it works very well. So I'm just trying to say that if you understand reasoning, learning works much better. And if you are working on deep learning, if you're working on machine learning, so and you just need to look at another perspective. Another perspective is that reasoning. So another perspective is that how to platform. So right now, let's look at the one business problem. So this is the the problem. Actually, this research is happening in Turkey. I can say that way. I cannot give the company's name, but I can say that we have a 52 turbines in the wind farm. So we are analyzing all the wind farm monitoring over here. We are trying to understand that why there is a fault and why this fault is gonna be happen in the future. This is the issue. When we look at this perspective, because this topic is very important, as you know that we don't want to use non-renewable energy sources. And but when we look at all the literature, we realize that everybody use non-renewable energy because there is a maintenance and installation cost. These are too much. That's why everybody use non-renewable energy. They got some investment about this. But if you can solve maintenance problem, this time, you almost reduce the cost 25%. This is a huge number. So that's why we focus on this research. That's why we would like to show that how it works. So for one of our research, we have 52 turbines, as I mentioned you before, and maintenance costs about 25% of all production. It means that they are losing their 25% of energy. This is the issue. So when the failure happened, they lost energy over there, and they would like to solve this problem. The issue is here, as the average, every day they have 40 faults, okay? And these faults are coming from 20 turbines every day. So, and they don't, the good reaction on the work hours. It means that between the 8 a.m. and the 5 p.m. they are good on the making some maintenance over there. But after 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., this time the problem start, to happen. What does it mean? It means that, for example, at 2 p.m. there's a one maintenance need over there, but this time they just use remote reset. So they are just doing remote reset again and again. After one point, they got the big problems. So the issue is here. If they can plan, they can understand risk level of each maintenance need over there for each turbine, then this time the problem is going to solve. At the same time, there are 52 turbines, and if we can understand that how this pulse is happening in the 52 turbines based on the interaction, this way, everything is changing because when I came as a wind tech in the wind farm, so I'm just saying that, okay, I just came here for fixing this fault, but at the same time, we have another risk level, and this risk level is going to be happen in this turbine and this turbine. I'm going to look at these two as well. So based on this, we are reducing the cost over there. So what we are doing this, we have a platform. Based on the platform, we are analyzing all of them, all issues over there. This is the one of the example, not just the wind turbine because we cannot share it, even the picture because of the company. But I just would like to show the platform to you. So after doing this, what we are doing with the basic way, we are doing risk analysis. But for doing risk analysis, we are getting all the information from knowledge graph. For example, usually if you would like to calculate risk level, you need the risk score over there. You just define a likelihood of event or period of exposure to hazard or consequence of the event, right? You are using this formula by using fine tuning method with the easy way. But this time, we're just saying that if we can understand similarity ratio of root cause, we can define a root cause over there. Or if we can mention about closer centrality or other centralities based on the graph, and we can understand interaction. And this time is going to be our period of exposure over there. Or we can define time loss, then we can define each false risk level for the turbines. So based on this, we can understand all the patterns, what is going on inside, and we can query and we can analyze. At the same time, we can give new wisdoms to the company. We did that. So based on we just created one basic platform for they are using this system with the easy way. Everybody can use in the system, but all the knowledge is coming from the knowledge graph. Even they select the one of the turbine here, they see all the risk level, and they see that what is going to be happening in the future. When they go to the one turbine, they understand all the risk level over there. For example, right here, when they start to work on the turbine 26, this time we are saying that there is a risk level for this fault, and they need to look at the 24. We analyze it. It works. So based on this idea, based on this knowledge, we mentioned that you can get you can reduce your cost over there. And usually, when we look at the just 5 months, the company lost more than $1 million as a maintenance, just in just 5 months. So, and when we look at our risk level and prevention rate, is 68% as the average. For some of them, it's 74%, but as the average is 68%. If we can get more data set or from the company, and we're gonna analyze and we're gonna improve it, we will do. But the issue is here, based on this knowledge, based on this issue, we understand and we propose that how this platform works. So based on this, we prove that the company understand all the concept right now. They just start to use this kind of system for monitoring all the maintenance in their company. So what we are doing here, we are trying to understand that all the risk levels, all the production loss over there. We just trying to reduce our maintenance cost by using knowledge graph, by using Halden platform over there. So for 52 turbine, and we are getting the profit. At the same time, when we look at the environmental way, so for the global warming, this is another concept as well, because this kind of system, they need a maintenance planning, but they just do preventive maintenance, that's it. So maybe if you have more than 1,000 turbines, this time you just using professional systems, even their system doesn't work on this kind of issues very well. So this is what I got. Thank you very much for listening to me. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to thank Professor Dr. Salih Tutun for their remarkable speech.
So if you have a question, I can take them. Then we can discuss about what we are doing and how we can, use this kind of knowledge for other application areas. So.
Salih Hocam, thank you very much for a nice presentation. We take a lot of, lessons from your presentation. Thank you so much. So your presentation remind me also considering Dr. Öztemel's presentation in the, first day. He was also mentioning the importance of knowledge management.
Oh,
and
really?
I remember from our, previous supply chain courses, there was a comment that supply chains are competing, not the companies. So probably we can take one step ahead and we can say that the knowledge managements of the companies are now competing, not the supply chains, because as you are able to properly manage your knowledge and get that wisdom, as you said, you are much more powerful across your competitors. What do you think?
This is exactly true. But when you look at this kind of system, they are competing as well, actually. You are right. When we look at, our counterterrorism or this kind of system, they are competing a lot in supply chain as well. But for this kind of system, in the reality, they are competing as well too. Because just look at it this way: there's a maintenance guy, and he's just trying, to go home. When you look at this basic way, the managers say that just work all day. This is, one of the example over there. When we look at, the some faults, we realize that because of the maintenance guy, he didn't care about it. He just would like to go home. He just got the remote reset. That's it. So even, you control this risk level. Even you give, one warning system, the manager can design a better way. So at the same time, And I'm not, separating supply chain or other areas because I believe that they are all unique. So when you look at, this perspective and they have entities, they have interactions, because if there's a people, there's interaction. It's totally fine. And everybody think that, the social media, they are interaction. Even, you are using one machine, and if, the some of the people in the company, they are using machine, there's interaction over there. So the concept is going this way. And for the supply chain, our next goal is going to be about operation management, because we would like to work on supply chain as well. So we would like to control everything in the companies. So for doing this, we are going to venture right now. So what is the concept? So everything is clear actually. If you have a knowledge graph, if you can control the shortest paths, if you can give the limitation in the graph, this is the operation research as well. It's totally clear. But the each question is that how are you going to control? This is the first question. Second question is
Yeah.
that how are we going to get the interactions? Actually, in our patent, we learned that how we're going to understand interaction. Right now, when you look at the Google and other companies, they define the interaction and other issues based on the expert. That's why they find what they got. But the issue is here, the computer is supposed to find this. At the same time, right now, we are analyzing 100 million relation interaction in 17 seconds with one computer, without using parallel processing, without using the huge workstation. I'm just trying to say that if you try to find a way to capture interaction, this is the first step. Second step is that if you control how these patterns keep going and getting this extraction, this is another step. So this research, and I believe that it's gonna be the top research in 5 years. And as you see here, and Dr. Özdemir explained this idea too as well. So I'm just trying to say that this is very new and top topic, but I believe that this is gonna be our next 10 years topic for the artificial intelligence.
Yeah, when I talked about supply chain, I actually wanted to mimic the concept. So I just wanted to say that probably the knowledge management that is competing now. So you
Yeah.
are as strong as long as you are efficiently manage your, knowledge or wisdom of your company.
Even right here, for example, when we apply to some projects,
Hmm.
and they would like to learn the reason. Nobody would like to
Right.
learn detection. For example, if you say that I know the reason, I'm gonna explain to you, and they are saying, okay, do the project. But otherwise, everybody say that, okay, right, you can do deep learning, you can propose it. But I'm not in the computer science department here. I'm in here business analytics department. So I supposed to understand some business perspective over there. At the same time, we are in the business in the M analytics. This is the company. So we're supposed to find a way how we can give the knowledge, how we can give the wisdom to the managers. Believe it or not, in this days, this is the truth. When you look at the companies, you're gonna realize that data scientists in USA, let me give an example, they are doing everything. They are data engineer, data scientists. They're just getting the $100,000 a year. But their CEO, they just using Excel for analyzing for other issues, but they are getting more than $14 million a year. The issue is here, if you know that, if you give the better system than Excel, and then I believe that it's gonna work right here. But the issue is here, if you know all the concepts step by step, if you can interpret all the results, and if you can give the wisdom, that works. Otherwise, nobody would like to analyze everything. Everybody would like to hear about the wisdom. They just
Hmm.
would like to say that what I'm gonna do right now. Just look at this wind turbine, for this fault, for this fault. And otherwise, everybody feel that, okay, I know, I'm gonna analyze, I'm gonna find, I can do that as well. So that's why, and in the supply chain as well, and this is gonna be the one of the top tool, is 100% guarantee, but someone's supposed to work on this area. Right now, Google work on search engine. For search engine, this problem is gonna solve in couple years. But for recommendation system, it's gonna be solved in couple years as well. But for supply chain, if the company works, we can solve. This is the issue. Universities, they are good, but the companies and university, they are supposed to work together in this kind of research.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I have another question, if you don't mind. It will be a really short question, I
Sure.
believe. So, how you are defining the interactions? So, can you
Yeah,
please
that's
more
the
deep on
pattern.
that? Yeah.
uh, Let me explain this basic way. We are finding similarity because
Okay.
just imagine like this way. If I am, let's say that I'm wearing the red shirt or red shoes, no problem. After that, you are saying that, oh, I really like your shirt, something like this, right? This is the basic interaction. So after this, what I'm gonna do, after 1 day or 2 days, or 1 week or 2 weeks, maybe I don't know, but when I go to the mall, I'm gonna buy the red shirt as well. This is happening. So this is the basic interaction in the real world actually. So what we're trying to do, first of all, you're supposed to capture similarities, but you're supposed to do this very fast way. Then you're supposed to understand that this is interaction similarity or not. If it is interaction similarity, then you're gonna go on this way. That's the basic idea I can explain. But this part we are working on last 8 years, I can say this way. And other parts is much easier and faster because this part is the important part. Otherwise, you can do network, you can use network graph, knowledge graph, it's totally fine. But if you are not analyzing the interaction very fast, if you are not using this kind of system very fast, then it doesn't work because you're gonna work on big data. So if you cannot analyze big data, you cannot talk about wisdom.
Yeah, the question seems easy, but it needs eight years background.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand.
Computation time is everything right now. That's why
All right.
everybody is working on quantum computing and other issues. But if you find a way for doing this kind of issues faster, at that time everything is gonna change. But the concept is clear right here. If we are mimicking if the robots mimic the people, they're supposed to learn the reasoning. Now, otherwise, we cannot talk about the human-based robots or robot-based humans. This is totally fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, I would like to invite all of you to our final session link for our closing speech.
Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great one. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Teşekkür ederiz Salih Hocam. Şimdi bu oturumu kapatıyoruz. Diğer linkten kapanış oturumuna geçeceğiz. Görüşmek üzere.